So yeah, on Tuesday night was it was quite a nice night on Tuesday, and so I've got a little video that we'll share with you. I'm afraid the audio quality on the video isn't great. What happened on Tuesday was I sort of, after making tea for the kids, I quickly packed my bag and headed off, and I got back for the morning work meeting on Wednesday. So this video all takes place within making tea for the kids in the morning work meeting on Wednesday. And I didn't quite take the right kit for the audio, so I'm afraid the audio quality is a bit hit and miss on the video, but hopefully it'll be good enough. We'll just run the video and then I'll say a bit more afterwards. So this is the Kirkton glen. It set up from Dhanakosa on foot about an hour ago, and I've come up here to find somewhere to sling my hammock. So this is just a view of the evening sun just catching the hills. And let's see where I can sleep for the night. So the next morning now, and I'm just walking a bit further up the Kirkton glen. I'm just going to walk over the top of the hills here and back down to Dhanakosa this morning. Before I get up onto the open hill and pick up any more of this breeze that's probably just starting to give you a bit of wind cut, I just want to stop and say a couple of things about, well, I suppose, anatar, I suppose, no self. Being outdoors, one of the things that you can do is you can let go of that sense of yourself. Now, I don't mean you're necessarily going to sort of suddenly become enlightened because you're outside. That would be silly of me. But by exploring some of the things we've been talking about, by noticing impermanence more and more deeply, allowing ourselves to just feel that continuous sense of change, by opening out the senses, by really connecting with the sense experience, and sort of questioning the boundary. I mean, that's an interesting thing you can do. I find this particularly strongly with the auditory sense. Listening is probably a bit of a doorway into this. As you feel your way into the sensory world, and you can just sort of recognise that sensation is just as much part of you, and you as you are it, and that really you can't quite define where the boundary is. And this is true of all the senses. So by just very, very gently relaxing into this kind of awareness, the permeability of the boundary between ourselves and our world starts to become much more apparent. I briefly looked at using the three elements. All the elements are there, but the earth, water, and either air or space in terms of sky are another way of sort of exploring the boundary between what we consider to be ourselves and what we consider to be our world, and just recognising that there's a felt permeability in that non-separateness. And that non-separateness, that felt non-separateness, also is a continually changing, a continually evolving, an ever-shifting ground that we inhabit. And this, of course, is set against the practicalities that, last night it was quite a cold frost, so my hands were quite cold when I was trying to make my breakfast this morning and pack up the tent, and just sort of ordinary discomforts and being slightly exerted walking up this hill. So this kind of permeability of mind and body and heart is sort of set against a sort of a materiality and a practicality at the same time. And I think that's one of the things that I find inspiring about it. We can, by letting go of a sense of fixedness, recognising impermanence, recognising these qualities
that are intangible, and noticing that although there are objective realities to what we call ourselves, that actually we're also just as much a part of this constantly moving sort of sea of phenomena. There's a release happens. There's a sort of release happens in the mind. A sort of a sense of freedom, whereby these practical difficulties sort of take their place in a bigger picture. And in the same way, I find when I'm out, sometimes my mind has just become sort of caught up in some aspect of my life, and then other times I can just sort of release that, and it's not like it's no longer there. It's just that it's sort of now free within a much bigger context of experience, a much bigger canvas of experience. So we can also just let go of and free our mental and emotional states into a sort of an undefined openness, I suppose. At least temporarily, at least get a hint of what that's like. Of course, then the important thing is not to try to attach to that sense of what that's like as if we can make that the whole of our experience. We've just got to sort of keep very, very gently opening up to that aspect of experience. Keep just sort of letting it in, as it were. And I think that takes time. That's why it's quite nice to, I find, certainly coming outdoors, coming to nature for significant periods of time, and the sort of the ups and downs of that experience start to become contextualized in something bigger, and the ups and downs of my mind start to become contextualized in something bigger. And they do that not because I'm trying to make it happen. It's just sort of a natural part of the process of releasing and easing into an unfolding sensory aliveness of nature, and to the simple beauty of the moment.
Ironically, that little Lochen was warmer than Loch Voil that morning. There was 2 green shanks up there as well, so I didn't stay for long because I didn't want to disturb their nest. Anatta, it's a big word in Buddhism, isn't it? And we usually avoid the philosophical confusion of no self and talk about no fixed self, which is I think less confusing to get your head around. I discovered recently that atta also means to pick up, and or to take up, literally to take something up. And there's this in Vedic in the Vedic tradition. There's the idea that you take up name and form, or nama rupa, out of the sort of undifferentiated sort of oneness, if you like. Now, I've no idea whether the linguists and historians would have any truck with the idea that anatta, the way the Buddha used it, was meaning not taking up. But I think methodologically, it's a really neat sort of understanding of anatta. Just don't take it up. Yeah, this incredible experience that we have, this sort of unfolding whatever. Well, if I can sort of not make it myself, not take it up as me, the whole nature of that experience changes. So nothing in that is denied. I think that's what's quite interesting about this, is there's no denial of anything in that sort of understanding of anatta. There's just a real loosening of the of what we do with our experience as it arises. So the sort of the unfolding parts of my experience that I call me, and the unfolding parts of experience that I call the world. We just sort of allow these two things to sort of coexist and to move quite freely. And there is something about, you know, we've all been talking about the beauty, the falling in love, the joy of the moment in nature. And we've talked in this series as well about how that's not always comfortable. It's not always, it's not what we want from it. You know, it doesn't give us what we want. It just is in a way. And there is something, I think, there's something incredibly supportive about the natural world that allows that just sort of dropping of the sense of separation, dropping of the sense of control, if you like, into the unfolding reality. And I think, as everyone said, it's like it's just a strange thing. You can't make it happen. You can't grasp after it. You've just got to sort of tune your mind with and tune your heart really to that sort of that surprising nature of reality that just sort of presents itself. So yeah, they were the sort of areas that I wanted to share, and yeah, I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist a swim in the Loch.